Hey y'all, welcome to the next Loving Home with Liz. So when we left off last time, we had talked about the appraisal process and what goes on there. So once you get past the appraisal process, really on the buyer side, it's kind of that we're just waiting to close time period. So there's going to be some things that your lender is going to ask for. There's going to be some things that your real estate agent is going to work on with the lender and with the closing attorney. But there's nothing to where you guys have been like steady doing stuff all the way through the process. This is kind of where you guys get a breather. Now, 3 days prior to close, that is when the lender is going to give you that first set of hard numbers for closing. Now, those numbers can fluctuate a little bit between 3 days out and close, but that's where you are really going to know what it is that you're going to need to be bringing to the closing table. And per law, you are going to get those numbers from the lender and you have to sign off stating that you got them and that you've reviewed them 3 days prior. If you do not do that, your closing has to be pushed. You have to sign off on those first set of final numbers 3 days prior to close. Now, once that's done and everybody has agreed that those numbers are good, or if they're not agreeing and some last minute little changes need to be done, that's going to be taking place between 3 days prior to close and close. Now, the other thing that's going to happen is you are going to schedule the final walkthrough on the property. You want to do this for a couple of different reasons. One, the sellers have moved out or will be moving out at this point. I prefer to do my final walkthrough either the day of closing or the evening before, because we want to make sure that the seller did not damage the property on move out. We want to make sure that the seller completed all of the items that were agreed to be completed on the repair amendment. And we want to make sure that no storm damage, hailstorm, tree hasn't fallen on the property, all of those things. Because once you have signed and the ink is dry on those closing documents, you own that property. There is no way for us to go back to the seller and say, hey, you didn't tell me a tree fell on the property and I just bought this property and it was not in the condition I thought it was going to be in. It's too late. So that is why I highly advocate for a final walkthrough. Now, for my clients who are out of town, if they are not able to be present for the final walkthrough in person, I try to do where I do a FaceTime call with them and walk the property. That way they can see it that way. But every agent kind of has their own little process with that. Now, 24 hours prior to closing, on top of doing that final walkthrough, is when we're either going to make the decision that you are going to wire your money to the closing attorney or you are going to get a certified check. So that is a decision you're going to make based off of your finances and what is easiest for you to do. Remember, you're never going to pay your real estate agent that money. That money is going to go to the closing attorney. So you always want to confirm whatever that number is that you're bringing to the table with the closing attorney. Make sure you have the correct information and that it is going to the correct person and the correct amount of money. Now, it's the day of closing. We're all excited. We show up for our appointment at the closing attorney. You are going to need your driver's license for anybody who's on the loan to purchase the property or who's going to be on the documents for purchasing the property. And you are going to have a whole bunch of paperwork to sign. And the closing attorney is going to go with you piece by piece of what each document is, and for every loan type, every transaction type, it's slightly different. But they're going to go through and kind of explain it to you piece by piece. Closing usually takes 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the type of loan, depending on the closing attorney, all of that, and how many questions you have. Now, in the state of Georgia, once the ink is dry, you are going to get the keys to that property and you own that property. There's no waiting period, holding period, any of that. And so that listing agent and the seller are going to show up with all the documents that they are going to be giving to you at the closing. And then you are a homeowner. And at that point, you get to do the happy dance and you get to move into your new home. So thank you for tuning in to this Loving Home with Liz, and I look forward to speaking with y'all next time.